If I PB, one of my viewers is going to donate $5. Alright, I'm just going to start it, and then I'll let you know when the timer starts. We just gotta wait for this intro sequence to ride out.
Are you okay, Simon? I think you're bleeding.
Oh, that's nothing. It's just my brain can't stop bleeding.
Just
from the
adjust
accident.
this side so it looks good on the projector again.
Here, take this.
No, that's
Sorry.
for later, for the scan.
It's green.
Ashley, I need to tell you something.
Simon, please don't make this weird.
No, it's not like that. Why now?
Who's David Munchie?
Why is there never enough time?
For what?
Start timer. Okay, take 2. Welcome to SOMA any %.
Yeah, I'm up.
Where was I? This game was made
that's
by
me.
Frictional Games,
My name is David Munchie.
and they're the same guys that made
Brain
Amnesia:
scan. I
The Dark
remember.
Descent.
Are you alright?
Has nothing to do
just
with
a
Amnesia
bad
Mission
dream.
for Pigs,
Are we
but
still on for today?
It will be just as
That's why
glitch
I'm
heavy if
calling.
anyone
I
here
wanted
has
to
ever
remind you
seen
to
an
drink the
Amnesia
tracer
speedrun.
fluid I sent you. It'll help me capture a better image
You'll
of the
see a
damages.
lot of the
Don't worry,
same
I got it
wall
somewhere.
clipping
Okay,
and
great.
prop writing.
I'll see you in a couple of hours then.
Okay,
And,
see you soon.
You'll see that everywhere. This is just like an intro section. Looks nothing like a horror game that it's supposed to be. We're gonna skip a lot of the scary stuff. Right now we're looking for that. So we just have to check the other 2 spots that they could possibly show up in, because it's always the last spot that you check.
It feels like milk, but the taste, it's like sucking on a penny.
It looks like the stream's still alive, so we're good. Takes a little bit to start up here. We don't get running for a little bit. It's just kind of a side scroller here, aside from hanging up the phone. As soon as we get to Osgood, hang up the phone. So we don't want to talk to Jesse. But fun fact, this lady right here in the red, she used to be a secretary in the office that we're going to right now. Just in an early build of the game. Just a little fun thing. Coming out right here, we get to run before the office actually loads. So we're going to get to the other side of the room before we actually get to even see anything. Right here, the password's always 2501.
Hello? Dr. Munchie?
And I'm going to give Munchie a kiss.
Oh, hi.
Mwah!
Didn't hear you come
Nice.
in. Simon Jarrett, right?
This
Dr.
guy
Munchie?
is named
Well, it's,
Mr.
it's
Munchie.
Mr. Munchie, but I'm working on it. Actually, you're helping me right now.
Is this part of your thesis work?
Yeah, it's a study I'm doing with my colleague Paul Berg. We hope to design a gentle way
Basically,
to
the
work with
overall
brain
story of this game is
to help people like you.
we're going to get a brain scan right here.
Did you take the
The
tracer
copy
fluid?
of ourselves from
Yes, I
the
did.
scan
Great.
is going to go into a
Well, we can
robot
start whenever you're ready.
body in like 100 years into the future. So you'll see the scan happen here, and then transition from the main character Simon to what I like to call Simon 2.0, which is the robot consciousness version of him.
All right, let me just get this out of the way. You are Simon Jarrett, correct?
Right.
Canada, Munchie. Born 1988, July 16th.
Right.
Flat neurograph. Good. All files in order.
Well, this hurt.
It's just a scan. It'll hurt about as much as getting your picture taken.
Indians thought cameras would steal their souls.
But so. Well, let's hope they're wrong. Ready? Say cheese.
So this is a brain scan going on right now. And we technically start playing as a new character. But spoiler alert, you don't know that when you play the game casually.
What happened?
I'm going to be spoiling everything for you guys, by the way. So now we're here in this strange facility, and this is where the glitches
Hello?
start happening. We're gonna skip
Mr.
a lot of
Munchie?
stuff here. Let's just jump out of this window,
How did I get here?
and you kind of run around and meet one of your first enemies. But we're just gonna skip that first enemy, and this will work properly. Set this up. There we go. We just went through that wall, which is pretty cool. And then we're gonna go through another wall. Alright. Didn't quite work. This one is probably one of the most fidgety clips. Not an easy one to do, but it saves a good amount of time. I'm trying to be safe because you'll see a lot in this run where if you do the clip improperly, you'll get pushed. There we go, we just got it. First try. Just kidding. Thank you. But you'll see a lot of the times, and it might even happen in this run, where if you clip improperly, you'll end up falling through the map and into nothing, and there's no death trigger, so you just kind of fall forever, and you'll have to reload the game. Right now, we're gonna flip back out of bounds. Wait over here. Oh, so this is what I mean right here. You just kind of fall forever, and you gotta you gotta reload. Go back to the main menu and hit continue. Luckily enough, there's a lot of auto-saving, but sometimes when there aren't auto-saves, you kind of lose a lot of time in a speed run. Just gotta wait for this loading. Okay.
What was that?
Alright, we're gonna try this again. Okay. So we didn't fall through the map this time, so that's good. Running out of bounds here. This whole first section is designed to take maybe like 2 hours to do. But we're just gonna click over here, get this chair. And this will be our first instance of prop hovering, and I will demonstrate it here. You jump on an object and you double click, and then you can just use it to fly. So I'm gonna use it to gain some elevation here, and cheat our way to the next part. Skip all this extra content here. And right down there is our target. 203 is always the password. There we go. And this is where we meet one of the main characters.
Hey, are you there? I found the dome ceiling.
We skipped a lot of. We skipped their first
Jared,
conversation
Simon
actually, but in the
Hi,
speed run,
Simon.
this is where
I'm
we meet Catherine.
Have you figured out what's going on yet?
Me? I was hoping you'd have some answers.
You'll notice that
Probably have not.
the
What do you
story
wanna
won't
know?
make a ton of sense.
Where do you even begin? I mean, what
When
is this
you,
place? How did I get here? And
when you
why do the
listen to all
robots
the
talk like
dialogue
they're
in the
people?
speed run.
Well, you're an Epsilon.
We skipped
clearly.
every
You
other
never been there
conversation.
before? Where did you work?
Kind of get
Grimoire in
50% of the
Toronto.
story.
Is that really important?
No, I mean, where did you work at Tezos 2?
I don't know what that is.
That's unexpected. Did you come directly from Toronto?
Yeah, I did. And it was very unexpected.
Have you seen any people, like staff or field technicians?
Only robots, crazy ones.
This is all so strange.
You're telling me. What was that? Whoa!
This place is
I
gonna
think this
collapse,
place is about to collapse. What do I do?
and we're just gonna wait for it to
Simon, come to Lambda.
happen.
How do I get there?
There are shuttle trains connecting all the sites. Find one and come here. I'll wait for you.
Shit! Where should I? Oh, fuck!
Oh yeah, by the way, there's a lot of swearing in this game. Alright, so we kind of messed one thing up. We didn't slowly descend into this room. We kind of fell and hurt our legs. So I'm going to try to touch one of those autosave points to heal myself. And that's just a marathon safe precaution. It normally wouldn't end the run, but it'll make...
How is this possible?
Healing up will make this next part a little bit easier. You'll notice I'm running with a limp right now. Oh, it's not going to let me do it, so we're just going to have to deal with it. Okay. Off center, and I'm running with a limp, so it's not going to be easy lining some stuff up, but we're just going to use this to kind of as a surfboard, but to fly up. And this is where I almost would say SOMA failed as a horror game, because it really didn't spook me out that much, but speedrunning it is actually a lot scarier than playing it casually. There's a lot of running really high above the intended path and staring into the darkness. So here I have to use a lot of visual cues, so I turn the gamma all the way up, and it's kind of hard to see, but we're looking for a rock to land on to activate a preload trigger, which will load the next part of where we're supposed to be. This is kind of tough. I think this is it. Alright, right about here, yeah, a little bit higher. Right over there. So, changing your visual settings and your monitor and everything, that makes a huge difference in your ability to speedrun. So I just crouched down there because that's one of the low triggers that I was talking about, and that'll make the next glitch that we're about to do doable. So gonna fall here, and going here is skipping a whole nother stage of the game. There's a whole site that we have to visit that we're just gonna not do. The door opens slowly, so we use that to push it open fast. Right now we're setting up this object for another prop hover, and you can't bring it in here, otherwise it'll deload. Or actually no, it won't deload, but we need it outside of there. This is where Simon kind of figures out he's a robot. He's got a flashlight.
Where did I get a flashlight?
But the closer that object is to this door, the less likely that it will despawn, because everything on the outside of the stage despawns.
Let's hope the shuttle still works.
Okay, it's still there, so that's good. And I fell into nothingness. Alright, so that's a bad thing. Like I said before, it's really hard to run with a broken leg. We might just have to do it the normal way, the slow way. Oh shoot. We're gonna have to do this part over again. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, are you there? I found the dome ceiling.
Oh, that's better. Simon, was it?
So that's a
Simon
huge
Jarrett.
time loss.
Hi, Simon.
Unfortunately, an
I'm
autosave didn't
Have
happen
you
like it
figured out what's
normally
going on
does.
yet?
Me? I was hoping you'd have some
But
answers.
that jump
I probably have some.
is really tough
What
to
do
do
you wanna
without
Where to even begin? I mean, what is this place? How did I get here? And why do the robots
so
talk
Simon's
like
a
they're
little bit
people?
injured right now.
Well, you're at Upsilon, clearly. Have you never been there before? Where did you work?
The Grimoire in Toronto. Is that really important?
Healing Simon
No,
normally
I mean, where
happens
did
when
you
you
work
touch
at
like an
Pizza's
autosave
too?
point.
I don't know what that
And
is.
That's
I have no idea where the
unexpected.
next
Did
one
you
is.
come
So
directly
we're
from
just gonna have to
Toronto?
deal with a
Yeah,
broken
I
leg
did.
for
And it
a
was
little
very
bit.
unexpected.
Have you seen any people, like staff or field technicians?
Only robots, crazy ones.
This is also strange.
You're telling me. What was that?
So once this happens again, I'm gonna hover over to that station.
I think this place
and
is
we're
about to
gonna do it,
collapse. What do I do?
Do a backup safe strat.
Simon, come to Lambda.
How do I get there?
There are cell trains connecting all the sites. Find one and come here. I'll wait for you.
Shit! Where should I? Oh,
You'll see me saving and quitting at certain points in the run in the future to prevent bad stuff from happening. There's a lot of marathon unsafe glitches that we'll be performing in the future.
What the hell? How is this possible?
So we're just gonna make it marathon safe by auto-saving.
This is insane!
There we go. My people need me. Yeah, and away we go. Right now I'm just trying to gain some height. And that fall really crippled us. Literally. Because it's taking much longer to gain height. With this limp. We're actually falling too. Yeah. Okay. If I can get over this mountain here, we should be good. There we go. Yeah. There's going to be a lot more of this running in the dark. And I'm just looking for visual cues so I can land in the right spot. Fall down here. Almost there. Okay. And this is the trigger from earlier. Just gonna run back over here now. You can see it really clearly now, right now, when he's just running on land. That little head tilt as we're running. And there's the autosave that we needed from before. Unfortunately, it didn't pop up. I'm really trying to make this jump work.
Where did I get a flashlight?
Practicing my jumping right now. You don't really get a nice running start on the other side of this door. And that's exactly what we need to,
Let's hope the shuttle still works.
to jump over an invisible station that got us from before. Right now, we're gonna drop a safety save. This glitch right here is actually pretty difficult to pull off. So luckily we have a pretty nice, fast gaming computer here. Okay, this is it right here. Alright. Made it over. Got a slight running start. Alright. And so this next part that we're skipping is a this train sequence where you learn more about the lore, and we don't really care about that in the speed run. So you just got to sit through this this whole train, but it's much faster to just run past it and clip over to the ladder to get to the next part. So some more running in the dark here. And it's very scary here because Simon is running with a limp, and you can't tilt too far down, otherwise you fall into nothingness once again. And you also don't want too much height, so every now and then we'll crouch to lose some height. The right elevation is just slightly above these railings that we see on the right side here. There's a whole train crash sequence that we go through. We talk to one of the survivors as well, and we're skipping all of that. So overall, this was totally worth it, and we saved a lot more time than if we had done it casually. So that's one of our visual cues. We know that it's coming up right here on the left. We kind of deviate away from this a little bit. Yeah, you know, that I have no idea why that's there. Okay, right here, this is the ladder we're looking for. And the fun thing is, after we lose some height, because we're a little too high there, we're gonna try to get right here next to the ladder and climb up it. So yeah, normally we wouldn't be able to get here without going through the whole train entrance. But it's a nice skip. It saves a lot of time.
Here we go again.
A lot of SOMA is indoor sections and then underwater sections, indoor sections, and kind of they take their turns. So that was our indoor section. It was a very short one. Yeah. What it's actually loading is the entire next map, though. So it's not just the ladder that's loading here, but we're loading the whole next map, which this is probably one of the biggest underwater levels, underwater maps. So here it's going to be a little tricky because we need to get a lot more height than we've ever needed. And once again, with a broken leg, it's a little bit hard to get height. So we're just going to angle this up and get as much height as possible. We might even need to do a couple more circles. The next stage is a underwater ship, and we're going to try to sneak aboard, not through the front door or the back door, just through a hole in the wall, literally. I'm using everything as a visual cue. The tower that we just passed is kind of telling me that we're a little bit low, so we still need a lot more height. Really tough to do with a broken leg. Luckily, we do get to do another body swap a little bit later on the run, and that will restore our running powers. Right about here, you should be able to see the next visual cue that I use. There's a crashed ship at the bottom of the ocean right there, And there's an invisible wall right above it, so this is why we need a lot of height, so we can go right over it. And if we don't hit anything here, we're good. So it'll be like running into like a window. And you just smack into it and you lose all your height, and it's a lot of time loss. So definitely to be avoided. Right here you can see the ship. It's the SS Curie. We might actually have too much height. Yeah, we definitely have too much height. So we're gonna drop down a little bit. I think I overcompensated because of the broken leg. Drop down a little bit, and then we're gonna look for that hole in the wall of the ship to sneak into. It's not that one. The one at the top will not load properly. We're trying to cheat into a load area, and this is the hole in the wall right here. We got inside. And I'm gonna try to activate that loading screen, which will load us into where we actually want to be on the ship. Alright.
Alright, we're in. Let's find a working
Another
escape
fire
vessel.
extinguisher clip. Didn't quite work out the first try. We'll have to set it up. Okay. Didn't work. This is a very fidgety. Fire extinguishers are just known for being the most inconsistent things to use for clipping. But it just happens to be the only thing we can use right now. And it'll be worth it. The time save will be worth it. You can make it work. Right here. There we go. Nice. It's nice to be able to clip through walls. We got a couple more wall clips to do coming up here. This is where we meet our second enemy, so we're gonna avoid spawning him by going in through the right door. So this right side doesn't spawn him. If you go through that door, it will spawn him. So we're just gonna completely avoid him. And to further avoid him, we're gonna use a chair to clip through the wall. This wall right here. Get a running start, and we're through, and we push through. Nice. That one is very hard to do. Thank you guys. Woo! Thank you guys. So this is where we actually meet him, but this enemy right here that we meet won't be as dangerous because he's in a favorable position. Kind of avoiding us. The other ones, if we spawned him earlier, he would have been in our path and most likely just killed us, giving us 2 broken legs instead of just 1. So you can see him right here. He's kind of like a Scooby-Doo type enemy monster. So I mean, he's not really that scary. Just like a diving suit with glowing eyes. Right now we're running away from him, but since he's behind us, he won't catch us all, even with the broken leg. And we get to escape pod. And we get to hang out with Catherine regularly.
Police emergency. What did you do?
I messed up, okay? Can you get us out of here?
Yes. I just
The dialogue here will introduce us to what the enemies in this game are called.
Taking off.
And they're called the WoW. They're called the WoW. Yeah, where's Bonesaw when you need him, right? Wow. Yeah.
Can you steer this thing?
Starboard rotor is choking, but I can compensate.
There's another fire
How do you
extinguisher.
even know what direction we're going in?
Fire
Don't worry,
extinguishers
I'm
now.
hooked up to the navigator. We're headed for Theta. Should be a matter of minutes.
Thought I was done for back there.
Seems like the WoW is
If
keeping
you look
maturing,
on
going
the
into
outside
a
of the ship, we're
catastrophic
actually
failure
not
state.
moving at all.
I mean, how
the
do you
game's
get
just
on
kind
the
of
ship?
tricking you into
Are you talking about the black tentacles in the
thinking
engine
that we're
room?
traveling at a
I've
very
seen
high
them before
speed.
at Upsilon. What are they?
They're a
We're actually
manifestation of
still
a
this part there.
malfunctioning
We're waiting
station-wide
for the next
artificial
part to load.
intelligence called the WoW.
Station-wide? So we just made a powerful enemy.
No,
We're
no,
called
it's
the
not like
WoW,
that.
guys.
The AI isn't a persona. It doesn't feel or think like we do. It's more like a cancer.
Was that the ship?
Looks like your sabotage worked better than expected. Brace for impact! Hold on, the blast just pushed us off the plateau!
What does that mean?
If I don't hit Delta, we're dead.
Nice. Yeah, we're dead. But not really. Alright, we meet a couple new robots here. And by now, Simon will soon realize and come to terms with the fact that he's a robot. But we meet a couple other robots here. The first one is this cute little robot that's gonna rescue us. His name is Kate, or her name is Kate. K8, I just call her Kate. Yeah. Trying to catch that door, I didn't really quite catch it. Makes this little cell phone jingle
You're the
noise.
rescue team, huh? Good job.
Alright, we're gonna use this door
Don't worry, Kathy.
for another prop hover.
I'll find a way to Theta.
I'm just gonna carry it all the way to where we need. You do move slower with the door, so sometimes we'll drop it and then pick it up again and push it out. But the time save is minuscule, and sometimes if you're not careful with this door, it will disappear if you let it touch any fences. So I don't know why that happens. I mean, this game doesn't make that much sense. But if I let this door touch that fence over there, it'll just disappear. And that'll kind of ruin our time save for the future. Simple puzzle here. It's not even really a puzzle, it's just kind of a password. And we still need this door. Yeah. I've let it touch the fence one time in a run, and it's not pleasant. So we're gonna call a Zeppelin over, and instead of waiting for it to land, we're just gonna prop hover onto it to get onto it a little bit earlier. Kate's just coming by to say hello. And there it is. Kind of hard to land on, so I'm just gonna lean up against it and drop. And we're inside. We're not done with that door, and I'll show you guys why after we meet the second robot that we mentioned here before. First, we have a brief conversation with Catherine again.
Calm down. We're safe.
Oh, it's really disconcerting pumping in
Catherine
and
will
out
be
of
talking
existence
about
like
how
that.
the last memory she had
Where are we now?
was
Delta.
right
At
before
least that's
the
what you
ship
said before the
crash,
crash.
or little rescue
Oh,
pod
right.
crash.
Of course. Is this a
And
Zeppelin?
so
Appropriately named.
she kind of
You
just
think you
pops
can
in
get
and
us to
out of
Theta?
existence
It's a
because
cargo transport.
whenever she's
They
plugged
use
in,
them
she
for moving
exists. Whenever
materials
she's
between the sites.
unplugged, she
Anything
kind
that's
of
too
just
big for the shuttles.
is in nothingness.
I'm
It's
sure
kind of
you'd
like
be
being
curious.
asleep a little bit.
Why won't it work? Come on. Oh, the tool chip is bust.
Isn't that part of the Omni tool?
Look who's been paying attention.
We had to deal with that back at Upsilon.
Then you know how it works. We need to get a new tool chip and switch it.
Care to point me in the direction of the closest tool chip storage?
I think it would be easier to just take one from a robot.
What? Just knock a robot over the head and steal their chips?
The toolbox over there says it has a stun baton. You could use that.
Come on. I don't want to hurt anyone. Isn't this a bit much?
It's
This game
just a
delves into a lot
robot,
of like
Simon.
We're just
existential
robots.
crisis problems and
guess so.
morality issues, such as if you're a robot and you kill another robot, is that technically considered murder? You know, stuff like that. And we'll be seeing a lot more of that in a second. Right now, I'm just setting up this door to be in a favorable spot for when we take off in that Zeppelin. But like Catherine said, we have to go kill the second robot. Not Kate. Kate's too cute for that. So we're gonna kill this one.
Am I right?
So this robot is another human that's stuck in a robot's body. He really thinks that he's human. He's kind of stuck right there, but he'll crash after shooting him 3 times. And steal his Cortex ship. There's a dead person right there. Yeah? Okay.
Thanks, Simon. Don't be mad, okay? We really needed that chip. We'd be stuck here.
Could you do it? Kill a robot like that?
Simon kind of
I
talks
get
to
attached
himself
to
a
them
little
too.
bit.
I'm not a monster.
Luckily, we can skip about
But
half of
in
this
this
dialogue
case, it
using
had
this
to be
door
done.
in the future. In a second here, actually.
Talking. I mean, he was delusional, but he seemed sincere. Present.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's fine.
Was he really that different from us? It's just beginning to sink in. I mean, really sink in. I'm a robot.
I'm a robot.
Didn't we cover this already?
Guess I've known ever since I woke up at Upsilon. I just keep suppressing it. Like my brain doesn't want me to think about it. It's really getting hard not to think about it.
Yeah. Could you maybe hit that switch over there so we could get moving?
Oh.
As soon as
yeah,
I hit
sure.
the switch here, it'll activate the next part. And so I have to be pretty damn sure that I'm ready for this prop hover. It's a pretty tight timing, and so we got it. So up and away we go. So normally you would have to sit through that auto scroller, but instead we're just gonna fly out of it and onto the next part to save us some time. The time save comes in opening up this really clumsy door to the next level, which is called Theta, and that will we'll come back to get Catherine, obviously, but we'll just go ahead and open up that door. Here, this door is from the previous level, so you'll see it despawn here. So we're gonna try to get as far as possible before it despawns, and if we don't, we fall into nothingness. So you kind of go into purgatory if it doesn't work, but I think we've gone far enough where you just kind of fall into the safe area here, and we're gonna run to that door that I mentioned. I have not. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think I've ever failed that glitch. It's a pretty safe one to do. So we're not dropping an autosave there. Some of the more scarier glitches, you'll know if it's really risky if I do an autosave. For sure.
That's okay.
Right now you can hear Simon having a conversation with Catherine. You just can't hear Catherine's part of the conversation
What?
because,
Oh,
I mean, she's not next
sorry.
to us.
I just can't
So
stop
it'll just sound
thinking
like
about
Simon's
what
talking
we've
to
become.
himself. It's kind of funny.
It's clear that we're no longer human. But then how can I feel like Simon? How can I feel like anything at all? I mean, technically I don't have any ears, no mouth.
I'm flipping through an invisible wall right there. There's a small hole in the wall that Simon can fit through. Casually, if you're playing SOMA, there's a point where you find a mirror in a bathroom and Simon gets a good look at himself and clearly sees that his face is a robot face.
So my mind is covering it up.
So this is the door I was talking about earlier. Just kind of pop it open. You can see how it takes a while to open up. Twist, pull, twist, push.
So I've found a good balance between awareness
And this door takes a while to open,
I mean, I
so
shouldn't think about this stuff.
by the time we get back to it, it will be open. So that's where the time save comes from jumping out of the Zeppelin instead of riding it. And we should be just back on time to pick up Catherine.
before you go, the artificial intelligence you mentioned in the
Just gonna
escape
wait for
vessel,
her to land.
is it the WoW's fault that we're like this? I mean, it seems like something an unreliable AI would do.
And now that she kind of gets closer, you can hear her part of the
It's really
conversation.
complicated to explain how machines think, Simon. Concentrate on getting inside Theta, okay? See you soon.
Nice. So we got Catherine. She's always been inside of this Omni tool. We kind of skipped that part where we picked up the Omni tool in the first place. But once you get past that part, it just kind of appears in your inventory. So that's how we've been transporting Catherine around. So now we're inside Theta, and we gotta wait for the second door to open. Luckily, it doesn't take as long to open up the second door, but we do have to wait for this water to drain. Again. So the reason why we're here is to find a submarine called the Dunbat to go into the abyss. The idea is to
Hello? Anyone there?
find what's called the Ark, which holds the
Catherine,
consciousness
we
of
found
about like 30 scientists, and it's supposed to be sort of a virtual heaven that they're going to send off into space. And that's the whole goal of the game here that you find out in dialogue that we skip in the speedrun. So instead of finding the Dunbat, which turns out to be infected by the WoW, turns out to be a crazy evil robot submarine, we're just going to skip all of that by doing this glitch and a couple more. Right here I'm trying to load the next part of the game by kind of going into this trigger here. It'll start loading pretty soon. I'll fall off into the side. So I'm running over nothing. Luckily, there's standable nothingness here. But there's the next level is way below this level. So what we're gonna do is do a U-turn jump. I'm gonna try to get a running start here. A U-turn jump and land onto the next stage, which is all the way down here. Boom. And luckily, that would normally break our legs, but that doesn't really damage us. And I mean, our leg is already kind of busted, but we made Terry Akers here, and he's the scary monster that's going to come down and grab us. He's kind of confused because we're not running away from him. Because we're speedrunners and we're not scared. Speedrunning horror games is always kind of funny because it's kind of like going through like a haunted house and knowing where all the jump scares are. Anyways, that jump that we did from Theta down to lower part of Theta, jumping from one stage to the other, that saved about 50 minutes of gameplay.
Wow, this must be what speedrunning tactics.
Yeah, I think casually SOMA took me about 8 hours to beat when I first played it.
Don't worry. It's okay. It's over now.
Simon's having one of his little dreams.
What are you doing here?
Like couples do. You don't want me?
Yes, of course you do. What happened?
You fell in love.
And of course we wake up to find that we're still in this hellhole. Yeah, why wouldn't we be? But a couple more glitches coming up here that are pretty interesting. Also very scary. Performing the glitches is actually scarier than the jump scares for me. Right here we're going to try to clip through, but if we go too far we're going to fall into nothingness, so this is a pretty unsafe thing if we get unlucky here. Ooh. So this is where we're falling into absolutely nothing again. But luckily, we just got an autosave. This may take a couple tries. Just because of the way this works. You kind of have to push yourself up against the wall, and it'll give, and you have to pull back as soon as possible, otherwise you kind of make that drop. We're going to try to do it pretty safe here.
I have an interesting question.
What?
Happened to real Simon?
The real Simon is still in... Oops. So it happened again. The real Simon is still... Well, he died 100 years ago. Because the real Simon just kind of existed. And we're like a copy of Simon that's been placed in a robot body, if that makes any sense to you. And that'll kind of happen a couple more times in the game. Ooh. I think the viewers can hear you.
That's sad. I wanted to be a creepy voice that didn't even exist to them.
If not, you are a creepy voice that only I'm talking to. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna kind of concentrate here because we got exactly where we needed. Standing on nothing, and we're gonna get up here. And this part is very... There's a lot of invisible like pitfalls here, so you kind of have to know where to jump. And be very safe here. Although we're above the intended path of the level, there's still a lot of parts where you can just fall and just won't be able to move. And so we're going to try to avoid all of that. If this will let me jump over it. Okay, so we made it. And there's an invisible wall here, so we're going to do another U-turn jump mid-air. Jump and U-turn. Oh, didn't work. Jump, U-turn. It is very hard to jump, get a running start with this broken leg, so I'm going to stand back a little bit. There we go. There's that U-turn, and we're going to pop back into bounds using this duct. Nice. Instead of going into the water, we're just going to kind of fly over it using another prop hover. There we go. So normally we'd have to go into icky water that hasn't loaded. And we're just going to skip all of that. Nice. That was one of the hard ones to do. So it's nice to get that one out of the way. Right here, Terry Akers is going to try to chase us down again. The whole place gets flooded out, so we get shot back out into the abyss of the ocean. Luckily, we don't have to do any prop hovers in this part of this next stage. But we do have to sit through a lot of dialogue, so instead of doing that, actually, we're going to clip into the next level using another prop.
Let's find Omicron.
This place called Omicron, instead of taking the intended path, we're going to take the back door using a prop to clip ourselves in. So we're going to look for a little Bomberman looking thing. It looks like that, but it's closer. Right here, this is what we need. And I just got to drag it over to the door to be able to use it to clip inside of Omicron. This is where we get our new body, so we'll be able to recover our running speed. part's very tricky because you might be able to fall into the abyss, and there's actually a kill trigger for it. So this is the back door I was telling you guys about. We're gonna move it towards us. We can place it so we're almost kissing Bomberman, or not. I'll grab it right there. This really works multiple ways. It's just whatever you're more comfortable with. But we have to bring it as close as possible to us and then push ourselves backwards through the wall. So you can see it almost worked there. There we go. So now we're inside Omicron. This next part, Catherine sends us on a mission to retrieve 3 ingredients. We have some structure gel, a cortex chip, as well as, what's the third thing? We need to grab, I don't even think about it that much. I'll know it when I see it, I guess. But 3 ingredients to put together a suit to go down into the abyss. Because our plan A, which was the Dunbat submarine, was a no-go. Omicron is probably the most fun stages to do. There's a lot of clipping and a lot of prop hovering in a very short period of time. Clip there, do this puzzle. There we go. Oops, almost got it. There we go. So there's the head. That's actually a robot head that we just picked up. And instead of walking up the stairs and finding the stairs actually and walking up it, we're gonna prop hover again to level 2.
Oh, really? I was wondering why you posted that.
Alright. Another clip to do. Right here, it's kind of hard to do on a setup I'm unfamiliar with, but you can click on that button on the other side of the door. If you spin fast enough, you kind of push yourself out of bounds, but we'll just wait for it normally if we don't get it on time. Normally you would have to fix this door, but instead of fixing the door and getting the structure gel inside, we're going to use this chair and knock over this chair. Stand on it and steal the structure gel, because Simon has very tiny, thin hands, and he's gonna pick it up right now, but he hates Sleepwalker92, so he's not gonna pick it up. So I'm just gonna have to move the chair a little bit. It's very fidgety. There we go. I see it. There we go. So we just literally pickpocketed it out of that little room there. And I'm trying to save some more time by clipping, but this tray is kind of stuck and I actually need that. I might have to use another tray. That's funny, that's actually never happened. I don't know if it's possible to unstick it. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna have to find something else to clip out with. I don't know if there's gonna be another thing, or it looks like we're gonna have to use a different object. A book might work, so we're gonna try that.
It's tiny. It's tiny.
Otherwise, we will have to restart this part. Okay, books will not work, so we're gonna have to go back.
How far is it gonna go back?
And I'm not sure how far it'll go back, actually. It depends on where that autosave picked up. But it won't be a serious time loss, like the part from before. We're just gonna have to do the robot head again.
Oh, by the way, dripping blood. Nice horror feature.
Sometimes SOMA is so glitchy that it's good and bad for speedrunning.
It's both.
Did I not pick up the robot head? Alright, we're gonna have to go back then. Thanks. You just saved us some time. Appreciate it. Okay. We gotta go back to that structure gel now. Okay, here we go. So this part again, and we're gonna not stick the tray. I don't know why that happened, because that's actually never happened before, but there we go. We gotta work with this chair again.
Let's do the Sausage King versus Alex. The Sunday.
If we can draw a direct line from Simon to the structure gel, we'll be able to pick it up. So this is probably one of the most unwieldy objects to use to gain some height here. There we go. Okay. Didn't lose the tray this time, so that's good. I didn't know that was even like possible to lose it. There we go. Right here, we're gonna be able to hear Ross's voice. Ross is just another scientist that's been infected by the wild that wants us to help kill the wild, because apparently Simon is some sort of poison to the wild. Okay, so the power room is where we want to go. And this is where we meet yet another enemy, but we're just gonna run right past her. And flip out of bounds here, hopefully. That'll work. There we go. Alright, now this is one of the most dangerous jumping parts. There's 3 jumps that are very, very dangerous. So we're gonna drop a marathon safety save here. Because it will pay off in the long run if things go wrong. here's our first jump. It's over more nothingness, which we just made. And another U-turn jump over nothingness, which is very dangerous as well. And we landed, so that's good. So that's 2 of the 3 jumps. I can make it up here now. This part you kind of just have to work your way up. Climb up higher. Very difficult to do with a broken leg, but that's exactly what we're trying to solve right now. Okay, now we're a little bit higher. A little bit more height, so we're right here. Now this jump is harder than the last 2 combined, so we're just going to drop one more safety save here just to be really, really safe. We don't want to lose any more time here. There's a little platform that you can land on the opposite side that won't let you continue the game, pretty much. So that's a U-turn jump. And we got it first try, nice. We're going to clip back into bounds. And see Catherine. Nice. This is where Catherine's going to tell us to pick up all the ingredients, but for us, we picked up all the ingredients and then saw Catherine. So the dialogue won't make sense once again here. So we're going to activate everything.
You think we'll find one that fits me?
And the important thing is to activate things in the right order, otherwise it will actually soft lock the game.
From then to now.
How could I forget?
Okay, so we do it again.
You want to send me to the future?
No,
Catherine's going to tell us to look for the new body, so we're just going to have to activate that first.
We don't need to make it a big deal.
Oh, they are? It's a big deal, Kath. It's a huge fucking deal. There's got to be something else that can take us down there.
The Dunbat at Theta was the only vessel that could take that pressure, and you saw what happened.
Then think of something else.
Simon, please. You don't have to switch this instant. Just play along for now. If we find something else, then great. If not...
I'm not promising anything.
Thank you, Simon. Have a look around the room. This is where they would keep the power suits, if there are any left.
Okay, so this power suit has a dead body inside, but we're just going to rip off the head of the dead body.
Oh, God.
And put in a robot head.
Found one of the power suits.
And we're going to be a robot again.
Inside. At least I think it's a woman. Just like the body we found in the annex. She's missing her head.
Gross. This could work in our favor, though. Look for a terminal nearby, see if you can pick it up.
Okay. Now, we're going to place this door here. There's a trigger here that will load a chase sequence. And so instead of doing that, we're just going to place this chair here. If you activate the trigger, it will trigger this door to close. So we're going to place this chair here, and that's in a pretty safe spot. Now activate the trigger, and it's going to block the door from closing, ideally. So it didn't happen. So it doesn't really lose that much time. We just have to sit through 2 extra dialogues.
Not exactly grade A material.
Don't write it off just yet.
But it should be fine.
Remember what we found out at Theta? The suit you are wearing is basically just a Cortex chip working a few pints of structure gel, powered by the on-suit battery pack.
And a dead colleague, Imogen Reed.
Exactly. If you think about it, we're actually incredibly lucky. We found a suit with an already dead body inside.
Rally Herbert.
Yes, you're right.
Is this
WoW?
woman's body
What makes you
that
think
we're
it'll
going to
play
get
along?
into?
It's not magic, it's algorithms. A set pattern. The WoW won't be able to deny us, even if it was capable of wanting to.
I'm still not crazy about this plan. It feels wrong.
Please, Simon, I can't give up on the Ark. I need this to work.
So we need a Cortex chip, structure gel, and a battery pack. That's one hell of a shopping list.
Thanks. I'll just hang around here if that's okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. There we go.
Shut the door, Cat. Lock it up.
What's happening?
Lock the door.
It's locked! What's going on?
So things are happening like super out of sequence here.
We have everything we need, right?
Yeah.
Now we're just assembling the parts. That's the robot head right there.
This is crazy.
Don't worry, it'll work. Make sure it's all bunched
And
together.
there's the structure gel that we just
connecting all
added.
the parts.
And that's part of the WoW thing that they were talking about earlier. So it is an enemy, but it also allows us to exist as well.
I can't believe we're doing this.
It will be fine.
Then why don't we put you in the suit?
I was going to suggest that if you refused.
You'd go without me.
I need to do this, Simon. This is important. I need to watch the
You'd really do it. Change Bob.
Yes, if you want to stay here, I'm not going to stand in your way. I don't want to tell you what to do.
It'll be like before. Close my eyes
And then open them again.
all right. Let's do it.
Thank you, Simon. Go sit in the pilot seat in the next room. You might need to heat it up. We need to loop back the activity manifested by your current cortex.
There's that password there.
You can climb it
Or puzzle. It's pretty easy.
Sorry
But
about any discomfort. This should be over soon.
story-wise, this is where Simon, his mind is quote-unquote transferred, where it's actually just copied into that other body that we just prepared. So you kind of find out that he doesn't realize that. And right here, you'll hear Simon 2.0's voice speaking. So this is just like at the beginning of the game where we got transferred into the robot body the first
Why was he
time.
still talking?
More like a copy.
What do you mean?
You know it's not magic.
So that's the Simon that we were just playing as, and now we're in Simon 3.0, as I like to call it.
Two Simons? There can't be two Simons.
Simon's just freaking out right now because he doesn't realize what just happened. It's kind of like being cloned.
You realize how messed up this is?
And I'm just gonna put this.
Why did you expect me to react to this shit?
He's just sleeping right now,
Fucking disgusting.
and I'm gonna put a bucket over his head because I can.
What's gonna happen?
He'll sleep for a while, a few days.
And then what? Wake up in this fucking nightmare again? All alone? So cruel.
Well, what do you want me to do with him? Make friends? Let him know that we have to leave him behind when we go into the abyss?
What if...
And they're talking about euthanizing him, but we're not gonna do that because it takes too long. He's gonna put a bucket over his head and run away.
There. I set it up for you.
One more clip to do
Hit the switch if
coming
you
up
want to drain
once
his
we pick up
battery.
the
He'll
Omni
die
tool
within a
once
minute.
again.
I'd rather not stay plugged in anymore.
In this part, I need to really set this up fast. If you do this too fast, it won't let you do it. If you do it too slow, you'll kind of clip into nothing and it'll fail. So we have a very short period of time to do this clip, which at this point it's not worth it because it didn't really work. But it's more like a 3 or 4 second time save. The idea would be to clip through that wall and out here, so we don't have to run around this way. It's a very high risk, low reward glitch, so we're just gonna play it safe if it's gonna take that long to set it up.
Are we done here?
Yeah,
Activate the cloud, please.
sure thing.
Take us to and we'll be off.
Right here is just kind of really an auto scroller that we can't get out of. So a little bit of things need to happen here. We have to wait until the power goes out and until one of the wild creatures speaks to us. In the meantime, you kind of get this like heartfelt conversation between Catherine and Simon, and they kind of bond a little bit. It's probably the most friendly they've been with each other. just because Simon's been through a couple of crazy events in his short, like 30-second life here.
If I had called the wrong side, I'd be running away at Omicron.
And he's kind of just talking it over to get over the
hit that make
fact.
sure Simon wakes up in the right body switch, did you? Not that you would know. I mean, he would still claim to be the right son. Christ. This is awful. We did an awful fucking thing. And you
On the
were
left,
lying.
you can
Why would
see
you?
how
How could you know that it's not me? The me
how
that I
deep
am,
we
the
are
same that I've always
and
been.
how fast we're going. You'll see the underwater pressure increase as well, which is exactly why we needed the suit that we're in right now.
I don't know what to say. I don't want to upset you.
Simon 2.0 wouldn't be able to handle the pressure of the abyss,
When I
or
was
the
little,
deep world as you see it on that
I
monitor
used
there.
to climb the stairs all the way to the top of the building. And I can still feel how I did it. Tuck my arms and push the heavy steel door open. Well, the first time that I dared go up there, I stepped out onto the roof and watched the small rise and fall over Taipei. I got all the way up to the coral ledge, and you know, I felt the warm wind in my Street vendors filled the air with aromas of all my favorite foods. For a brief moment, I felt connected to the world in a way that I never had before. It was the most profound feeling of comfort and sense of belonging I could ever hope for. I really never felt the same way again, but I went up to the roof many times after. I'm not religious, but I can see why people would be. The privilege of being makes a strong case, at least every once in a while.
You still feel that sense of awe? Even like this?
Things are different, but we're still here.
What's the point of going on? Everyone's gone. All the people still left are digital copies trapped in computers at the bottom of the sea. We'll never be able to rebuild or reclaim what we were.
Are you really so unhappy being what you are, or is this about the man who went for a scan 100 years ago?
Both, I guess. When I was back in Toronto, even the worst case, the darkest futures I could predict, they at least included my previous life somehow. I'm so uprooted. There's nothing here that I recognize, nothing that makes me feel like I belong. Even if we make it to the garden, would it be any different? I'd still be alone. No friends. No family.
You could make new friends. I'm sure everyone would like to know the time traveler. If not, you still have...
And the power went out, so that's the first event that we had to wait for. And we're gonna quickly activate the climber again.
Hello, Catherine.
By starting up the
What happened?
power again.
Me, I know it's not much, but why don't we stop moving?
The power blacked out for a moment. It could be the atmospheric pressure. It's pushing pretty hard, really testing the limits of my suit.
Don't worry.
Then there's that, and then
Comforting.
the one character that I mentioned before, Ross, one of the wild creatures, will pay us a visit in a second.
What's the difference?
I don't feel like I'm being held back or hindered. And I don't have the opportunity to reflect on the time I'm missing. It's simply missing.
Sounds like sleeping without the dreaming.
Yes, but generally you anticipate when you're about to sleep, and there's a natural continuation since we tend to wake up where we went to sleep. My experience is more like an ever-changing moment that never really seems to find closure.
Sounds kind of like a movie being edited live.
I suppose so. I guess it sounds exciting, but it really keeps me activated to the point of exhaustion.
Rough.
Could be worse. Could be a time traveler stuck in a body made from black goo.
Not the worst.
Gets launched, broken most.
And there's Ross right there. Yeah, he's not that spooky. He's just kind of in trying to recruit us to do what he wants us to do, which we're just gonna completely skip the Ross section of the game by an out of bounds later. But he's trying to help us. He's trying to have us help him kill the WoW. But that would cost us a left hand, literally. But we don't have to do that at all, so we're just gonna skip it.
Looked like a man, one of WoW's creatures. It just stared at you for a moment, then threw itself down the abyss.
We're just about to the abyss here, and there's a couple more prop hovers, and there's only 2 sites left. With some pretty consistent hovers, but there's just one really dangerous jump left.
Looks like we're closing in on the ocean floor.
Good, not sure the climber can take it much longer. Okay, so this is the Omega Sector. It's about an acre of the abyssal plan used by Pathos 2. I expect we'll have to do some walking before we reach town.
You haven't been here before?
Not in a way that'll help us.
Evie's been here. We're following his little footsteps, Cat.
When I had footsteps,
Could still be down here somewhere, technically.
don't remind me, freaks me out. Okay, let's head for town and find that arm.
Okay. So now we have to find our prop, and this is actually one of the toughest hovers, just because it's very tricky. You need to be at the perfect elevation, not too high, not too low, and you do have to go very high up and be able to see where you need to land. It's and I'm not sure if my settings are gonna be adequate enough for it, so we're just gonna have to eyeball it if it's not. Right here, I'm gonna scroll up after hovering to just gain some height. My visual cue is that light post on the left. As soon as it disappears, I'm gonna start running forward. And this is a different monitor, so it's going to be slightly different here. It's going to be tough to see some stuff. It just about disappeared, so we're going to go down a little bit and start running forward. Gaining some height eventually, but I think with these current settings, I can see where I'm supposed to land in the future. It'll look like a snake pattern with a very curved edge at one point. You'll see a corner that we'll land at. But the reason we have to get so high is because we're avoiding a load trigger, which will load a sandstorm that will slow down our movement speed drastically. If we go too high, we won't be able to see anything and where we're supposed to land. Here, there is a mountain that we're going to go over. It's one of the visual cues that we're using here. Once we clear it, it's coming up still. This is one of the scariest prop hovers. And I think we're heading up to this mountain. I think I see it. I think we actually went over the mountain. So we're going to try dropping here. It's very hard to see, but I managed to see it and land on this path here. This is where we want to be exactly. The corner I was telling you guys about is right about here. It's very out of place. You can see it here. That is our visual cue. Jumping up here. This one's a little bit easier. We're going to go straight and then a little bit to the left. One more mountain to clear. This next part's even more dangerous. Not that you get lost, but there's death triggers if you fall and land into an area that's outside of the normal path. But if we see some lights over this mountain here, that's exactly where we need to be. And you can almost start seeing it on the left there. Okay. Tau is right there. Tau is the name of the next stage. We're just going to have to drop down to it pretty soon here. You can almost see the entrance. Just barely. That light right there is another visual cue that I use to know that I'm at Tau. So you can see how high up we are. We just got to drop all the way down to this entrance right here. And I still need that. There's one more thing that we got to do with this that's very important. Just got to be very safe with it. Can't lose this prop. This prop is very important. Just got to get to the right part. Jump up here and jump up there. And hopefully flip properly. Come to this side. Okay, we fell into an unsafe zone, so we have to load ourselves back outside of Tau again. And it's very unfortunate there, because it doesn't kill you. You don't like load again. You just have to reload. So that autosave that happened right before this was very helpful. Right here, and we can't lose that. Try it one more time. So let it float right there. Okay. We're out of bounds and we're in a safe area this time. Now here comes the most dangerous jump in the game coming up pretty soon here. We just have to set it up. And it's another U-turn jump, but the pixels that we're trying to land on, the hitboxes rather, that we're trying to land on are very, very small.
Let's find the arc.
Right about here. Set it up properly. There we go. Alright, before I make the jump, we will have to take another safety save. Because this jump is very inconsistent. Okay. Gonna have to get a running start here. So we get back up there. Okay. Let's get this running start. Make this jump. Oh, made it first try. Nice. Alright. That is actually incredible. Now here, this is actually the last human on the planet. She just happens to be invisible, and we're going to kill her. So disable life support, because that will skip a whole lot of dialogue. and we don't care about human life. We're robots now. And clip through. And I have to jump back up here. She hasn't quite loaded, and that's just because we've skipped the loading part of her. You know, you have to hit the right loading triggers in order to load the proper. Oops, the proper objects. So we're gonna have to go back again. Something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. So that safety save paid off. But we'll probably have to end up killing the last human again. So here we are. We're gonna have to do the scary jump one more time. And we made it. Nice. It's a very hard jump to make, and I just made it twice in a row. So that's very nice to have happen. Now we just have to jump up here. It'll just let me get back up. Oh, almost got it. There we go. Very slippery surface there. Alright, we'll have to disable life support one more time. What happened, actually, so I was a little bit distracted, but we have to grab the arc that was mentioned before, and that's very important to get to the last level, Phi. There we go. Let's see here. There's Terry Akers again, but I'm gonna need to concentrate for this. I'm a little distracted, so sorry about that. We're just gonna have to do this jump one more time.
Promise.
You gotta bend it a little bit. You have to get in there really well. Yeah.
Alright, bud. Got it. I had to do 2 of these.
I'm going to really focus here because it's just really easy to forget that. So, apologize.
Alright, bud. You want these on? I'll take care of the plastic. This is SOMA. The suit's almost done by the looks of it. Yeah, he should be almost done. He's got like...
Okay. What we need to do is grab the arc right there. So now it's within our possession.
Yeah. He runs on SG.
And pop through here. There we go. Just gotta wait for this door to pop open here. And we'll make our way to 5, which is the last stage. This whole area needs to fill up with water, so we're just going to pull out these pipes to accelerate the filling up speed, and it'll kind of knock us out as well. But when Simon comes to, we'll be able to do the second to last prop hover to get to Phi. And this is the prop that we're going to use here. It looks almost like crutches, but it's a nice, it's a very nice prop hover. It's very long and stable object to use as a hovering object. So now we can fly a little bit, but there is a ceiling on this place that we kind of have to sneak through. It doesn't always let us go through, but we're going to try to sneak through this little window on the left. There we go. And pull that out. And away we go. The Ark is getting transported along that tunnel system there, and we lose track of it. And that one enemy that we met before, named Ross, he'll take us off on a detour off to the left there. But we're going to skip that part and head straight for Phi and try to complete the game from there. That little dome area is where we do the final confrontation with Ross. So he's almost like an enemy, not really, just kind of like the one of the final staples or challenges. He has you make a decision whether or not to kill the WoW. Once again, the lights serve as a good visual cue as to where to land. You'll be able to see Phi's entrance pretty soon here up in the top left. A little bit high, so I'm gonna just angle this prop a little bit down to lose some elevation. Almost there. And there it is. Okay. So the only thing we need that for is to help push open this door faster. Use it to push open the door there. And this is our last station. There's no enemies here, but there's one last major glitch that we have to do. That saves a good amount of time. Once again, you kind of have to wait for the water to fill or defill. Fill or drain, actually, in order to enter or leave stations.
This has to be 5, right? Hope the Ark made it here in one piece.
Alright, so our last prop will be this chemistry book that we'll use here. And it's a very hard object to prop hover with. just because it's so small, you kind of have to angle it diagonally. And use it to, we're gonna try to get up on these, those tentacles up there. This is very fidgety, so we're just gonna have to concentrate and work on it right here. Okay, so we're up on here now. We're just gotta pull it towards us so we don't lose it. And just clip up. And now we're through, out of bounds, but the book is not. So we're gonna have to slide it into the corner and try to work our way, work the book up out of it. And now it's out.
One of them was easier. One was pretty hard.
Almost lost the book. Just gonna have to slide it in and out of here again.
Well, you get punished, right? If you mess it up, is that what it was? No, I forget what it was. So you're
It'll come through. Come on.
I just remember, yeah, 3 times
There we go. Now that it's through, we're gonna use it to prop hover one last time. So we have to set it up in a safe area. Right here. There. Okay, now we can fly with it. So we're almost there. Just gotta get a little bit more height. Too much height. And drop right here.
I'll never get used to that.
Guess you won't have to.
And that was the final glitch in the game, but there's a couple sequences left, and there's a post-credit sequence that we'll have to run, and that's where we'll actually meet Catherine in the virtual afterlife, which was the Ark that was mentioned before. So right now we're launching the Ark into space, and at the same time copying Simon 3 into the Ark, and the Simon that's in the Ark will actually be the 4th iteration of Simon to have exist. So think of it as like the 4th clone. Simon still doesn't know how it works, so he's kind of an idiot and will freak out once he figures out how it actually works. But once we meet Catherine in the afterlife, Simon 3 and Catherine 2 will kind of argue back and forth. They'll kind of cuss at each other for a little bit. But when Simon 4 and Catherine 3 meet each other, that's when the game will actually end. It's kind of fun to see Simon freak out because he doesn't know quite how it works.
No turning back. Don't mention it.
It's an amazing thing you did. I want you to know I appreciate it.
Time, 20 seconds.
What's the matter with the upload?
Just give it a second.
Thought you guys would have better bandwidth.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6.
You gotta be kidding me!
5, 4, 3, 2.
Yes! Fuck yeah! We made it!
And so he's just kind of confused that he's not in the heaven right now, because he doesn't realize it's copy paste, not cut and paste.
Catherine? Catherine?
I'm here.
What the hell happened? What went wrong?
Nothing. They're out there, among the stars. We're here.
No. We were getting on the Ark. I saw it. It finished loading just before it launched.
Yeah, I saw.
Then why are we still here?
Simon, I can't keep telling you how it works. You won't listen. You know why we're here. You were copied onto the Ark. You just didn't carry over. You lost the coin toss. We both did. Just like Simon and Omicron, just like the man who died in Toronto 100 years ago.
This is bullshit. We came all this way. We launched the Ark.
I know it sucks, but our copies are up there. Catherine and Simon are both safe on the Ark. Be happy for them.
Are you crazy? We're gonna die down here with those fuckers living at large on a spaceship. They're not us. They're not us.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Simon. I'm proud of what we did. We made sure that something of the hundreds of thousands of years of human history survived, that something lives on.
Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck
Yeah,
you,
there's a lot of
Catherine, you
swearing.
lied. And I believed in you. I trusted you. You said we're getting on the fucking Ark.
We are in the Ark, you idiot! Yeah. I didn't lie. I can't be responsible for your goddamn ignorance.
Fuck! Catherine?
Alright, so that's Simon 3. He gets to
Catherine?
rot away in 5
Catherine?
as a robot for the rest of his life. Credits will start rolling, but you can actually skip the credits after about a couple seconds here. So we're just going to hit escape until we get to play as Simon 4. Right here you get to start running before it even starts loading. So
Did it work?
we wake up in the Ark and already running. And Catherine is at the end of this path. So this is the virtual heaven that we spent the whole game working to get launched into space in order to be powered by the sun for billions of years. So this is the legacy of mankind in the future in the SOMA world. So this is where we'll actually get to see what Catherine looks like. And as soon as the screen fades to black, that will be time.
I didn't sleep at all. He was sitting at the table. I was like, I read that and I'm like,
Alright, you can almost see her over there now.
Catherine!
There she is. She doesn't really have a face. And that's time.
Actually made it.
We did.
nice time.
So relieved.
141.50, by the way.
141.50.
Actually, it's 141.48.
141.48. Thank you guys.
Nicely done! I can finally be free!
My original estimate was probably more accurate than the estimate I just changed it to. 140 was the original estimate.
I am free!
Hey, man.
I am free in my behind-the-scenes area commenting wildly.
Come over here.